Hello everyone, it's Anissa from Color On Magazine in the Absurd Coloring Series, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on watercolor backgrounds. I'm actually fairly new to watercolors, and I'm still learning a lot, but they're pretty fun and you can do backgrounds with them fairly easily. So I'm going to tell you the pencils that I used. So the first ones are the Inktense. I have a 12 pack. I really like the quality, and actually, oddly enough, these work really well. Better than Sharpies, to be honest, for fabric, for coloring on fabric. I'm going to be getting the bigger set because I find the 12 pack to be a bit lacking in color range. They don't have gray. Most of the colors that they do have are dark, so there isn't a light blue, it's really dark blues. I just think the range could be better in the 12 pack. That said, I think I'm probably going to end up getting either the 36 or the 72 pack. The other kind of pencil that I used was Crayola. Now, I know it says right on the package, 20 watercolor, 8 metallic, and 8 bright. For some reason when I bought this, I was thinking that the metallic and the brights were also watercolors, but they were just metallic watercolor or bright watercolor. That isn't the case. It is exactly as the package indicates. 20 watercolor, and then the metallic and the brights are just metallic and bright. I'm going to show you quickly what the metallics and brights look like before I jump into the watercolor. I'm not a huge metallic fan as is. I don't use them a whole lot, but as far as metallics go in this set, they're not too bad. As for the brights, I really wasn't impressed with them. The only ones that are really bright or brilliant, as they say, are the pinks and then the neon yellow. The other ones, I mean, this green you can hardly see, and the blue I find is kind of the same way. So if I had it to do over again, I would definitely look for just the watercolor Crayola pack, and never mind with the bright metallic mixed one. Okay, so for this background, I don't know if any of you saw the post before. I did the picture post for this, and I did actually honestly blend it with beer. I was really lazy that night and I didn't want to go and get water, so I had a can of beer in front of me and that's what I used. For the video I'm going to be using water, just plain water. And I'm just going to pull out the blue. So for this background I only used the one blue watercolor from Crayola, and then I used the two darker blues from the Inktense. Okay, so you do need watercolor pencils, and then obviously a picture to color, and you're going to need water, or if you're, you know, in a desperate situation and just want to be pure lazy like I was the other day, you can use beer, it does work. And then you need cotton swabs or Q-tips. Well, that's what I used, but I think actually technically you're probably supposed to use a paintbrush. Q-tips work, in case you're wondering. They do. They might not if you were trying to do like finer details, but for big open spaces like skies and whatnot, they work fine. Okay, so I just went through and sort of outlined the pieces. Oh, my pencil crayon's deciding it wants to break off. I probably sharpened it too hard or something. You don't have to worry about being really picky when you're coloring it on. But you just want to make sure, obviously, you don't want to get in the outline of the spaces that you don't want blue. So I was just kind of going through piece by piece, sectioning off different pieces, and then, because I don't know about you, but for me, if I have to color one space and it's a big one, I do it in chunks because I get really bored of doing the same spot over and over. So like I just personally wouldn't sit down and do the whole sky at the same time. I'd do a section of the sky and then I would do part of the bird, and I like to mix it up a little bit. Okay, so you just kind of go through, get it in the general area, and you see it's really messy, but that doesn't matter. And then I take the lighter blue, actually this might be the darker blue, but it doesn't really matter, and I just kind of put it randomly in different spots. Oh yeah, that was the lighter blue. And then the darker blue I kind of went up along the edge, more like a shadow. And then I just add random little spots here and there. Again, totally messy. Then you just take your Q-tip, dip it. I just kind of blot it on my pants or whatever I have available to take some of the extra water out. And then you just start kind of rubbing it in. I was doing sort of circular motion, so I mean you can just go straight back and forth. But I find when you go straight back and forth, you don't get the streaks out as well. If you kind of go in a circular motion, it does seem to blend it pretty well. And just go right up to the edge. Keep going in a circular motion. And the coverage is pretty good. I mean, I wasn't finding I had to go through too many Q-tips or anything. And then you get the sort of, like, because the sky isn't all one solid color, so you get the dark areas in it. If you don't think that you added enough dark, and then you can just go back in, kind of darken it a bit, and then go back over it with the Q-tip. And you get that sort of shadowed look. If your Q-tip is too wet or you start going over the area too many times, then the paper wants to roll off a little bit, and then you just keep going through the whole area like that. So again, like, you really don't have to be, for the backgrounds at least, too picky. Just get the color on there and then the water does the rest of the work. So, and I find that the Crayola watercolors are, in comparison to Inktense, pretty good. They blend really easily. And the only reason I was using a mixture with these two brands is because actually Crayola doesn't have a whole lot of dark blue watercolors, and then Inktense doesn't have any light blue watercolors, so mixing the packs worked. Well, Inktense probably does, but not in the 12 pack. Dip it and then just blot off the excess. So I'm bad for not being a picky colorist. I'll really just use whatever's around me, or sometimes I blend with my fingers or beer. Wipe the excess water off on my pants, I don't know. There. Then that line, that distinct line that was there before, isn't anymore. And then it'll dry off. You probably would definitely want to do it on single-sided paper, because it is a lot wetter than markers or anything like that, or a lot more wet than markers. So it does wrinkle your page a little bit. Not too much though. So let's go over again. You need cotton swabs or Q-tips. You need water, or if you're really lazy, beer or anything that is wet but not too colored. Like, I don't think dyed juice would work very well because you'd probably get the color of the juice in there. And then I use the Crayola watercolors, which I really like, but I said at the beginning, if I had to do it again, I would avoid the pack that had the metallic and the brights, only because I didn't find the brights to be very bright, and metallics isn't something that I commonly use. And then I use the Inktense, which I really, really like Inktense, but the 12 pack is a bit lacking in range. I hope that helped, and I'll be back